So do you still have questions about the DRP? Well, in today's video, we're going to go over the VHA DRP FAQ. Finally got it. And then also the DRP agreement draft. I was able to get access. So let's go ahead and get started. We only have until May 16th, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to get the applications in. So let's go. Here is the FAQ. Again, it's broken down by topic, questions, and answers. The ones in red were the ones I thought were something that people have asked in the past. So I went ahead and highlighted them. There's some important links. I went ahead and extracted it and placed it on a different column. And then I also have additional notes. So first, let's get started with benefits. Now, with regards to health benefits, if you have a qualifying life event, something that will require changes to your health benefits, you can go ahead and look at the handbook and find out what those qualifying events are. But if you are participating in the DRP, you are unable to change your duty location, but while on administrative leave, if any one of those things change, decide to move, you can go ahead and check to see if that is something that will qualify you to be able to update outside of our enrollment period. Now, the next thing here is with administrative leave and PPL. So the DRP program, if when that's consistent with the law, the agency may agree to waive any remaining service requirements, for taking PPL. So I thought that was helpful, especially for those that are participating in that program. If you are approved for DRP, you will still continue to get your full salary, accrue leave, your full benefits while you're on administrative leave, and there won't be any change to your health benefits during that time frame. So the time spent in administrative leave, it's still considered a full-time employee. That'll be counted towards your creditable service for retirement. So if you are taking the resignation, how does that impact your service computation date? Everything counts towards that time of creditable service. So even though you're not fully at work, you're still able to get full-time benefits and also credit. Now, here they asked about, I know I'll receive compensation for any regular leave, but would I get credited for sick leave balance? So if you are, so here, the annual leave, you'll continue to receive benefits and it continues to accrue. Same thing with sick leave, but the end, sick leave does not pay for separation. It can be either frozen or reactivated upon reemployment. So if you are not retiring, they can freeze it, or if you are retiring, it can be calculated towards your federal service. With regards to TSP, you still have full benefits. So that includes your TSP contribution. I'm going to go ahead and keep it going until 9:30, and then I could decide what I want to do because they're matching it. Now, with regards to your life insurance, your enrollment will continue 31 days automatically at no cost to you after you separate. Then after that, you can convert it to an individual non-federal employee policy. And when I calculated that, since they're not subsidizing it, it is more expensive. Plus it's term. Plus it'll increase every few years. So I went ahead and got my own. So having my life insurance license, that helps. And then I was able to shop around. This one's a good question regarding somebody that's on FMLA, PPL, or leave without pay status. If they're placed on administrative leave, the date they sign the agreement and complete all the required actions. So basically paying back PPL, you don't have to. If you are on FMLA or FMLA PPL, once you start your signed agreement and the DRP, you're basically on administrative leave. With regards to equipment, we will turn in all our VA equipment and property on or before the latter of the date specified on their VA DRP agreement, but no earlier than the effective date. So what that means is if you start on June 1st, and that's your signed agreement as far as start of your administrative leave, you can turn in your equipment after, but not before June 1st. So now there's going to be a few things in here that are highlighted in yellow because I really wanted to emphasize those. This one we might have to double check, especially with the Department of Education with regards to student loan repayment. It's stated on the agreement that the agency will waive any debt owed to a VA pursuant to a recruitment incentive, student loan repayment, or other service agreement. Any remaining service requirements from taking paid parental leave are also waived. So that is huge, especially for those of us that have student loans. Definitely follow up with that. And then also with regards to the 7-day period to revoke the VA DRP agreement, you are given 7 days after signing the agreement. My understanding is if you're younger than 40, you have 7 days. If you're older than 40, it's actually 45 days plus 7. So that gives you a little bit more time because you might be eligible for retirement. So that gives you time to confer with a lawyer and to see if that's the best action for you. Now, here, this is another one with regards to employment after or while on the DRP. So this person asked if they can apply for another position with the VA and or another federal agency while on administrative leave. So the answer is no, basically a double dipping. The whole point is to be able to reduce the force, and that includes other agencies. So while you are on the DRP, basically the acceptance of any positions while you're on the DRP and the date of retirement or resignation is a breach of the agreement. And then the VA will immediately effectuate retirement if eligible or removal. So I would go ahead and look for a different job, private sector, see where things go. So for future employment, prior service is assessed and determined appropriate tenure and leave category anytime previous employee returns to federal service. So if the employee resigns and then wants to work for the federal government in the future, that time counts. So the time you served, the time during DRP, that all counts. And then when you come back later on, if you decide to come back, that is all included. And then if you are later hired back, will you have to repay back what was received? And the answer is no. So if the VA DRP places the employee on approved leave status, there will be no repayment if you apply and are hired into the government after resignation. I would read a little bit more, especially with regards to reemployment. I know we're going to get a lump sum with annual leave. Let's say if you were paid annual leave was equal to about 6 weeks, right? And then you come back 4 weeks later. The remaining 2 weeks of that annual leave you have to pay back. I know I'm highlighting the initial sentence, but there's always a caveat. Read the fine print, especially if you want to come back to federal service. The DRP will exclude you from qualifying for Career Transition Assistance Program and then Interagency Career Assistance Program. So usually when you apply for a federal position, like the CTAP and the ICTAP will be given to those that are going to go through the reduction in force. It's not going to go to the people that apply for DRP because we're resigning. We're not being laid off. The other thing is the wage grade increase. You are a full-time employee while you are on administrative leave. If you are eligible for your wage grade increase while you are on the DRP, then that would apply to you. You would still get it. Look at your service card, check your EOPF, and find out when you are eligible for your time and grade, because that will matter, especially if you are close to retirement as far as your high 3. Another person asked if they had 10 years of service but will be turning 60. Will they be able to the DRP and defer their pension? According to this, yes, future retirement benefits will be applied at age 62. So you can go ahead and defer it. And then they suggest that you contact OPM and definitely your retirement shared services office if you have questions. If you're not retiring yet, but at least you just want some clarification, it helps to start looking and start attending those RSSO federal retirement seminars. They're available. Will the DRP have an impact on those who have pending retirement scheduled for FY25? You have to submit your paperwork by 9:30. If not, then you have 30 days after 9:30 to submit your application for processing by VA. If an employee does not apply for immediate retirement, if they are eligible when they separate from the VA, then this may break the benefits coverage for the individual and may lose eligibility into continued benefits into retirement. If you are eligible to retire and you're maybe just holding it off and trying to maximize, you have until 9:30. And then they give you up to 30 days. After those 30 days, you might lose coverage and you might not be able to reinstate those. Talk to your RSSO. Do not wait until last minute. Any active disability retirement adjudications pending with the OPM at the time of resignation will continue uninterrupted. If you are going to go ahead and put in that application, it says here OPM will notify employees directly regarding the outcome of their application. If separated through the resignation process, an employee's active employment benefits will terminate, but may be reinstated at the time of disability retirement is approved. So there might be a gap. I would go ahead and definitely check with HR and RSSO if you're going through the retirement process, because like that might take some time. And if you are going on disability, you need those benefits, then you want to make sure that things line up so then that way there's not a gap for you. I know I've had people ask, if we only have 15 years of federal service, can we apply? No, you're not eligible for VERA. So if you do accept DRP, it'll just be a regular resignation, but they can take your time in service and then put that towards later retirement. Somebody asked, and it's not on the FAQ, if there is a retirement requirement reduction or time in service. What was told in the VHA hotline conference call, that would take an act of Congress. So reducing the retirement age requirements and the service requirements, that's most likely not going to happen. Now, this is the other information I want you to focus on. If you want to get a refund of your retirement contributions, you can put in an application from your personnel office and then complete it and return it to them. And if you're no longer in the federal service, you can acquire the appropriate applications from the OPM website. Here's the information. That's why I highlighted it in yellow. Now, if I submitted an application to elect the VA DRP, do I have to return to office? So what was stated in the VHA hotline conference call? If you are already remote, you haven't returned to office, submit a screenshot to your supervisor of your application, and that would exempt you from returning to office. However, if you have already returned to office and then submitted DRP application, stay in office. The key is do not do anything without an approval from HR, a signed agreement. This way you do not get in trouble. If we're looking to do the deferred resignation and resign later in the year, do not want to get terminated. With the VA DRP, all full-time employees may apply to participate in DRP, including the ones that are in probationary status. You can be denied. It depends on the mission and how critical your position is to the mission. And then just because our position is included in the exemption list for the DRP doesn't mean that we're going to be exempt from the RIF or any type of furlough or restructuring strategy. And then who are exempt from the DRP? Part-time employees and reemployed annuitants. So if you retired and then came back, you're not eligible to the DRP. Here I have a copy of the deferred resignation DRP agreement only for the Department of the VA, and this is a draft. So your personal signed agreement will be different. The reason I wanted to share this is to give you a chance to be able to kind of look at the verbiage. So then that way, when you are looking at your own personal agreement, you already know what to look for and to be prepared. If you are under 40, you don't have much time. You have 7 days to review and rescind your application if you decide to do that. If you are over 40, we have a little bit more time. But then this way we can kind of like start asking the questions. My goal is to give everyone a heads up because this is life-changing. This isn't something that should be taken lightly. And I know our leadership isn't taking it lightly. This is hard for everyone because it's not just going to affect the employee, it's going to affect the people we serve. I'm grateful for the support. If this is helpful and you know of anyone that doesn't have any information, please share and continue to support the channel by liking and subscribing. I'll go ahead and continue to share more information as I learn them. Thank you.